Hello. If you made it to this video, it was not by happenstance. It was not by circumstance. And God has a message here for you. Right now, God may be telling you to do something that does not seem like him. It may not sound like him. There may be, if you tell it to someone who is close to you, it may not make sense to them and they may be trying to tell you something opposite. But I'm here to tell you, God's saying, move in faith. Surrender and be obedient to what he is calling and telling you to do. My surrenderness right now is that God told me to move. God moved me, and right now I don't know why. And this is the first time that I'm really, truly walking on a blind faith walk, because previously when he told me to move, previously. So this is this is the second time. But the difference with this time and, the first time, this time I don't know why. I don't have an inkling. I'm literally just walking on a blind faith walk. So right now, God may be telling you to do something that may be uncomfortable. You may not have all of the pieces that go with it, but I'm here to tell you, move blindly. Step out on that water, Peter, because Jesus is waiting on you on the other side. And you don't know what's on the other side. You don't know, what's going on in the midst of it, but God does. He has the plans for your life. He knows the end from the beginning. He, he wrote your book before even the formation of the world. So, all we have to do right now in this time and in this season is trust in him. So here I am to share some details, of how and what and why. What's going on in my life on this journey. I'm here to bring you on this journey with me to step out on faith, to be more bolder and courageous, and to run into the destiny and the promises that God has for me. Because throughout this process in this journey with God, God has been revealing so much to me. He has been refining me, breaking up past wounds, old wounds, and things trauma that I have experienced throughout my life that has kept and prevented me from walking and being the person who he called and created me to be. So here we are. Where am I? God moved me to Miami, Florida. And the circumstances surrounding it was nothing but God and me walking in obedience. See, I've been able on this journey of learning, of growing, and of building an intimate relationship with God. I have been able to see him in the details of my life, be able to write down and record and know which direction he is sending me, he is taking me. This journey started in September of 2024. I was at a conference. I met a woman. And it was like we were literally like the same person on the same mission, but she has been on the path before I have. Weekly meetings. And also along the journey of, our relationship, God was revealing so many things to me. God sent me on a mission, to help my family. And he sent me back, moved me back to Florida, because the previous place that I was living was Charlotte, North Carolina. And that was the first place that he sent me on this journey. And we'll get back to that, at another video. But I started going through the rough and tough trials and tribulations, God telling you to do something and you are in the process of doing it, but things don't look like they're going the way that you want them to go. For instance, God moved me from Charlotte, North Carolina in July of 2024 because he said that I was going home to rebuild the relationships with my parents. And, because I'm a generational curse breaker, he was revealing things to me, traumas that I faced, that also my family was facing. So with me being a generational curse breaker, I had to heal. I had to go back and I had to try to rebuild those relationships with those people who are very important in my journey, in my life. And sometimes we don't understand. Sometimes we don't realize how much our parents impact our lives, impact how we see ourselves. They impact, our identity. And one thing God told me before I moved back was that I can't believe the things that he is calling me to do. I can't believe the things that he is telling me, the promises that are on my life, because I see God how I see my earthly father. Because, I faced rejection with my earthly father. I have, basically there was abandonment in a relationship. The limitations that I put on my earthly father, how I see or what I think that he would do for me, I was putting those limitations on God. And I couldn't believe and God couldn't do what he was doing in my life until I let go of those limitations on him. Because those limitations were not only affecting, my relationship with my father, but it was really affecting my relationship with God. And it was affecting the way that, I saw myself. And he also revealed to me, some of the problems and the trauma that I had with my mother, and how, generational curses are real, and how some of the things that she went through, I now face, and they have to be revealed to me so that I'm able to, fight. So that I'm able to not only fight for myself, but so that I'm able to fight for my mother, so that I'm able to fight for my family. Because when we go through trauma, sometimes we get stuck. We get stuck in the familiarity. We get stuck in the things that are holding and binding us down. And in order for, you to fight something, in order for you to overcome something, you have to face it. So you have to face the hard conversations. You have to face the things that make you uncomfortable in order for your trauma, your hurt, and your pain to be revealed. And God sent me back home, to deal with that and to face that. But it did not turn out the way that I thought that it should turn out. It became, in all honesty, me sleeping in my mother's living room on, her floor on a mattress. And me fighting for a relationship, me fighting for someone who, doesn't understand me, who doesn't understand the calling that's on my life. And it became a lot for me. It became just more questions, more hurt, more pain. The enemy tried to take our lives in a car accident. And even that, knowing why it was happening, but not being able to articulate the severity of the situation to, my mother and what God was revealing to me, it was a lot. And it became a huge mental blockage, mental breakage on me, where in January of this year, I was literally, ready to leave this place. I would never, leave this place on my own willing. But if God, I was at the point, where if I was telling God, if you would just, beam me up, give me an Enoch situation, I would be okay with that. Because, Lord, I'm doing what you're telling me to do. My life does not seem like, what I think that it should be. I don't like the way that I feel. I don't like the, the rejection and the hurt and the pain that I continuously go through. So, why am I here? But in the midst of it, in the background, God was revealing to me, that I do hear from him, that the whole process, the refining process, it is hard. And sometimes things won't go the way that we want them to go, but it's all a part of the process. It's a part of God unveiling, basically ripping the band-aids off of the wounds that won't heal, so that they can get some air, so that they can start to, heal from the inside. And February, God told me that something was going to happen. He told me that I was moving. He had been telling me for the past few months, and I did not know why. I did not know where I was going to be moving to. I had no clue. And he even told me that, it was going to come from someone who I least expected. So I literally had no clue. And in the process of that, January 29th, I was on a call, and a prophet basically said that there are two people who are on this call who God is he's about to remove you. He's about to remove you. He's about to divinely orchestrate your next move. You need a house. And we ended up in her room, staying in her room with her, and just getting to know, not knowing her, but just getting to know her and who she is. It was literally, God was showing me in another life form. He was showing me and my story through someone else. And we were basically able to resonate with one another. It started off with her saying that she was in marketing, and God was literally pushing and pointing me to marketing to go, deeper into this field of which I've always run away from, because it was something that came easily to me. It's something that I've always done, but I started, doing things and projects for other people, which caused burnout. And I was doing it for free, which, that's no fun. Because it's like, what is the point? Everyone else is receiving it and I'm not. But sometimes you have to serve. And God was really pushing me during that time. God was really pushing me and pointing me and saying that you're supposed to be in marketing. You need to go into marketing. Everyone would literally, who would even just meet me, was saying, like, you're so skilled, like, you're so gifted when it comes to, like, pointing out the things that can help me when it comes to sales and when it comes to marketing. And the thing of it is, I didn't feel comfortable with it because there was favor on it. There was favor on it where it came so easily to me that I didn't understand it. I'm like, I don't know what I just did, but I just did it. I can't explain it to you what I just did, but I know I just did it and I know it was good. And in the process, when I heard that she was a marketer and with 15 years of experience, that really excited me. But then we started going deeper and going into our stories and into our traumas and the things that we have been through in life. And it was like a breath of fresh air, but it was also literally God showing me and another person. She was literally telling my story, which was her story. And she became my mentor. We started meeting, and God was just showing me, you don't know, but I know. And in this faith journey, in this time and walk of intimacy with him, God has brought many people into my life to pour into me, which most of the things that have happened in my life have been from strangers. It has not been from family. It was always God positioning and bringing a stranger to me into my life during the time when I needed it the most, right before I needed it the most, so that they were in position. And I met her and we were just, we got to know each other. We got to know each other really well. And God positioned her into my life in a season where I didn't even know the heartaches. I didn't know the trials and the tribulations that I was about to go into and walk into, but she was there right on time. Right after we met, there was a lot of events that unfolded with God showing me my parents. God moved me back home to Florida. He said to rebuild my relationship with my parents because that was one thing that was really holding me back. That was really one thing that was affecting not only how I see myself, but how I see him. My relationship with my dad, I've always fought for a relationship with my dad, and, it has never really, happened, or there was always turmoil in the process of it. And God was telling me before I moved back to Florida, that you cannot resonate with the things that I'm telling you to do. You can't believe the things that I'm telling you to do because you see me as you see your earthly father. Just the things that you think that your earthly father would give you, those limitations that you're putting on, that you see from him, those same limitations you're putting on me. And that's not me. You keep putting me in a box. I'm God. I told you what your life is supposed to be. I told you the promises that are on your life. But because of the trauma that you've been through, you're limiting me, and I'm God. Nothing is impossible for me. So I need you to go deal with this. I need you to go confront it. And oftentimes we don't realize how much our parents really affect us. We don't realize how much, trauma we actually go through in life until God reveals it to us and makes us to start, unraveling it so that he's able to refine us and heal us. And in that process, God was revealing a lot. This whole journey that I've had with him, God has been revealing a lot to me about who I am and why I struggled with identity, why I struggled with self-worth, and all of the things that I've been through that have shaped me to be who I am, but not who God created me to be. And I've always been told that I'm the generational curse breaker. I've always known that I was different from my family members, but I never understood what exactly that meant until I started going through the process and God sent me back home to face everything. He sent me away to start building me up, but he sent me back so that I can face the things that I was going to go through head on. And I did not know to the extent of what exactly that meant until I went back home. And God started revealing to me the generational curses that were of my family. He started revealing to me, that we stopped growing at the time of our first trauma. And we have to realize that every person has a story. You not only have a story, but your parents have a story. Your mom has a story. Your dad has a story that oftentimes, they may not even share with you. You may not even know, the deep, dark past of your family. You may not know anything about your family because oftentimes when it comes to family Family has a role, they have a title in our lives, but do we truly know them besides their position in our life? Oftentimes we know them as their position in our life, as our mom, as our dad, as our grandpa, as our grandma, as our auntie, as our uncle, as our brother, as our sister. But do we really know them deep down? Do we really know the things that they may be carrying, that they have may experienced in their life, that, may shape the way that they think or act, that may not be what you think it is? And sometimes we have to take a step back. We have to take a seat and realize that they're human too, and that they have a life, and that they have a story. And although they have a story, their story may impact your story. But it is not for you to stay bound. It is not for you to stay there, sitting there in the chaos. And that sometimes God is calling us, the generational curse breakers, to find out what is hindering our bloodlines, to find out what is stopping and preventing us from moving forward, so that we can then face those things and learn how to destroy them, learn how to destroy the limiting beliefs, learn how to destroy the disappointment, learn how to overcome the trauma that we have experienced because maybe our parents didn't know how to parent. Maybe our parents may have said things or spoken things over our lives that impact the way that we see ourselves. Maybe our family may reject us because, they've seen one thing their entire life and you look like something completely different. We have to take off the blinders, and we have to start seeing life the way that it is. It's not black and white. Everyone has a story. It's not just your story. And yes, you may have gone through hurt. Yes, you may have, gone through trauma. Yes, you may have gone through disappointments, but that is not your story. That is not where you stay. That is not where God or who God wants you to be. So it is up to you to go back and find out what really is going on. What really is the problem? So, right after I met my mentor, I started going through facing all of the things that were holding and hindering my family, that God was revealing things to me that was about to happen to my mom and things that she was going through. And I know that he positioned me there to cover her. But, when people are not on the same path that you are, they won't understand you. They may not understand the process. They may not even, receive what God is telling you or what to do or say, But through it, God is also breaking you down to build you up. He's showing you the areas that person may be struggling with so that you're able to pray, so that you're able to intercede for them, in the process of it. And in the process of moving back home, and right after I met my mentor, God was revealing some things that was going on with my family that I had to confront and I had to pray over. But it became a lot on me. And the level of the trauma and the things that my family was going through, I did not understand at first. And it was really heavy. It was very weighty. And it was like, God, why am I doing this if this person doesn't appreciate it? Why do you have me here? Why are you taking me through more pain than I already have? For what seems like people who don't want the relationships, what seems like people who don't want to fight for themselves. But God made me realize one day, he said, turn the mirror back on yourself. So I was talking about my mom and I said something that really resonated. I said, it seems like I'm fighting for someone. God, why do you have me doing this? It seems like I'm fighting for someone who isn't fighting for themselves. And God said, turn the mirror back on yourself. And I had to realize the same things that I saw in my mom was the same things that I was seeing in myself. It was, you say that you're following God, you say that you're being obedient, but are you really fighting for yourself? Are you fighting for your family? Are you fighting for your breakthrough? Are you fighting for the promises that God said that he has for you? Are you fighting? Or are you just letting everything cave in on you? Are you letting everything bother you? Are you complaining, or are you fighting? And God made me realize there was more. There was more for me to do. There was more for me to see. There was more that he had for me. I just had to keep fighting. But, the enemy tried, in the process of that, the enemy tried to take me and my mom's life. We were in a head-on car accident and God literally saved us. It was nothing but God that, allowed us to even walk out and get out of that car. And he was revealing to me that it wasn't only for my mother, but it was for me. Because I was being obedient and I had just completed a book that God was telling me to write for the past 2 years. And he was telling me, sometimes you have to fight. Sometimes the enemy will send things to you to distract you from the things that God is calling you to do. Sometimes the enemy will throw things at you that will try to deter you and make you scared and fearful of the things that he is calling you to do. But you have to just do it. And you have to move forward. But the attacks became so heavy, especially around, the beginning of the year in January. The enemy was in my head so much. I kept questioning God, why am I here? Why do you have me here? What is the point of all of this? I'm tired of fighting. I'm tired of going through this process. I'm tired of, God, you told me what my life is supposed to be like. You told me the promises, but nothing is adding up. I'm tired. I'm tired of the waiting. I'm tired of the processing. I feel like I'm going in circles. And I was ready to give up. I was literally talking to God. Like, God, I know you won't let me leave here because I know the calling that's on my life. I know the things, the promises that you have for me. I know the people who I'm supposed to impact. So you won't let me leave here. But I was questioning, God, why am I here? I would never willingly try to leave here. But Lord, if you were to just beam me up, I would be okay with that. If you were to just make me disappear off the face of the earth, I would be okay with that. And I had to realize sometimes you have to take a break. Sometimes you have to take a step back and you have to seek God and intimacy with God so that he is able to really communicate with you. So in that process in January, I ended up going to a friend's house for, a little while. And in the process of that, I was able to reconnect with God. I was able to build more intimacy with God so that God could reveal to me, he could show me in the process of it. And with that, I was able to go back. I was able to go back home and be clearer in the head, clearer minded, and have empathy and sympathy for the situations that I was seeing that were not pleasing. But, God, he kept telling me that he was about to move me, and I did not know where. I had no place in my mind. I had no inkling of thoughts of where I could go because I really thought I had nowhere to go. But he kept telling me that he was going to move me. And then he gave me a word that it would be from someone I least expected it. And when that happened, I was like, okay, God. And at the end of January 2025, I was on the call and the girl was like, God is saying that he's about to relocate. There's 2 people on this call that he's about to relocate. There are 2 people that God says you need a home. You need a new home. You've been praying for a home. You've been praying for somewhere to stay. And God is about to divinely orchestrate your path. God is about to open up the doors for what you've been praying for. And I'm like, okay, God, I received that. I know that was you. And she literally said, Isheia Allen, God said that he's about to divinely orchestrate your path. And I was like, okay, God, I trust you. And it was confirmation because God was already telling me that he was about to move me, but I literally had no thought of where it would possibly be. And in February, God started turning my life around. He started answering prayers. He started, I wrote and finished my first book. I had a real deep conversation with my brother, and he was telling me how he's seeking God more, which was answered prayers. Right before I left, my sister said that she was getting baptized. All answered prayers, all things that I was praying to God for, and he literally made it happen. Right before he told me, I got the confirmation that I was about to move. I literally knew a week before I was about to move. I was on the call with my mentor and she was like, I've been praying to God, how much more can I help Isheia? Lord, what more can I do for Isheia? And she said that God said, open up your house to her. And when she said that, I was literally like, God has been telling me this for the longest. And you are the least person that I would expect that would make it happen, that I would be moving with. But before the call, it did come to my mind of how I was supposed to come and visit her and help her with some things, but that wasn't able to happen. Like, that was literally around the time of the accident. And I was like, okay, God, you have given me the instructions. You have told me that you were moving me. You have told me that it was going to come from a person that I was least expecting it. And you started showing me right before you moved me. You were showing me that everything was going to be okay. I didn't have to keep fighting for my family because they were in God's hands. So because of that, oh Jesus, I did not want to cry. You're telling me that and showing me that my prayers are being answered. That even though in the background I can't see, that even in the background I may not know how. All I have to do is trust you. All I have to do is be obedient. All I have to do is move in faith and do what you're telling me to do. Because I don't have to continue to worry about my family, because my family is in God's hands. The salvation of my family is in God's hands. And he's been telling me that through the things that he is about to do in me, through me, and to me, that the glory that he is about to bring out of my life, he will get the glory for the story that he is about to do through my life, for the things that he is about to do. I will be a testament of who he is, in proof that even if you don't understand, as long as you are obedient to God, as long as you are trying, that God will make a way, that he will always provide, that he will, for his children, that he loves us, he cares for us, and that, you know, as long as you are being obedient to him, he has you. You don't have to have you. You don't have to know the why. You don't have to know the how. All you have to do is know the who. And when God is showing you in the details, if you're able to document, if you're able to communicate the things that he is doing to you and through you, and the things that you know cannot be coincidences, you will see him in the hands of your life. You will see him. You will start to know him and how he communicates to you, because he communicates to all of us in different ways. But you will be able to see who he truly is, that he loves you, and that he's calling you to something bigger. He's calling you to something greater, something far more than you can ever ask, think, or even imagine. As long as you go on your faith walk, as long as you let him purify you, heal you, and transform you, you don't know what's on the other side of it. And honestly, I don't know what's on the other side of this. I'm just being obedient. This video is an act of obedience. This video is me surrendering to the call that's on my life. It's me surrendering and moving out of fear. It is me surrendering to what God has been telling me to do for the longest. And I don't know what's on the other side of this. I don't know what's on the other side of being transparent. I don't know what's on the other side of, you know, me sharing my story and my testimonies. But I do know that it's time to start facing the hard conversations. I do know that I'm supposed to help you face the hard conversations. And this is only the beginning. This was really just the introduction video. But we have to start somewhere. And I'm starting here. And I hope that you can start, you know, be comfortable to start where you are too. If God is telling you to do something right now, you may not have all of the pieces, you may not understand, but do what God is telling you to do. Move in faith and watch God show out. Watch God do things that you will never even imagine. He knows the plans. Just move your feet. We're on a faith walk. Move your feet and do what God is telling you to do. Because, you know, like me, God just moved me again. And this time I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going to come out of this, but I'm trusting God. And you should too. So if you would love to, you know, made it to the end of this video, if you would love to follow me on this journey, you know, and, you know, even heal in the process, because this channel will be about a lot about healing, rebuilding, you know, the ruins in your life, healing from trauma, and finding God's purpose in your life. How about you just, you know, like, follow, and subscribe? You know, it's that simple. And let's see what God has in store for us. Let's see what God does in this time and in this season. Let's see what God does in you, to you, and through you, for your purpose, for what he has called and created you to do, for the people who he has called you to. This is only the beginning. And until next time, bye.